Hey, and welcome back to another episode of ZÁY SHEEN Webisodes, where elegance meets sustainability, and we dive into conversation at the intersection of fashion, lifestyle, and conscious living. Today's episode is all about sustainability in both travel and fashion, two worlds that are more connected than you might think. At ZÁY SHEEN, our mission is to create fashion that is ethical, empowering, and sustainable. And travel plays a huge role in how we bring that mission to life. Joining me here today is Cassidy Wilson, a sustainable traveler, content creator from Tampa, Florida. Through her brand Chasing Cassidy, she calls herself your sustainable travel bestie, redefining tourism. And she built a growing community of mindful travelers who believe in exploring the world with purpose. In this episode, Cassidy shares her journey, including a life-changing solo trip abroad she took with just limited funds, as well as practical tips for solo travel on a budget, insights into sustainable tourism, and how fashion and travel overlap in the movement of conscious living. So get ready for an inspiring conversation that proves you can see the world, live your values, and look good doing it. So let's get started. So hey, welcome back everybody to ZÁY SHEEN Webisodes. We got our wonderful guest here today, Cassidy Wilson.
Hi everyone, thanks for having me.
Thank you, Cassie, for joining us here. Please introduce yourself to the people.
Sure, hi everyone. My name is Cassidy Wilson. I am a current graduate student at the University of Tampa, but I have a specific interest in sustainable tourism, so I'm working towards building a company right now within that area, and I'm happy to chat today a little bit more about what sustainable tourism looks like, as well as some of my personal experiences that will hopefully be inspiring to you all.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember when we had our intro call about, I think, 2 weeks ago, and I was very, very interested in this topic because I love traveling. And I believe this is, of course, one of the unique webisode we're gonna have because we never spoke about tourism before, especially
Yeah.
sustainable. So this is gonna be awesome. So when we're gonna start with, what was a moment when you think about solo traveling, because you do that a lot.
I would say definitely my first trip. That sticks out to me the most just because of the experience of what led up to it. So my first solo trip, I feel like I spent equally, if not more time, like planning the trip and all of that stuff versus actually the 1 week trip itself. So much led up to it. But particularly, obviously, I was really excited, but what really stuck out to me was people's reactions when I was telling them that I was going on a solo trip for the first time, especially how my family reacted, and friends. Everyone was really nervous for me. So a lot of those memories are really prevalent just because it was interesting to see everyone else's reactions versus how I felt about going on the trip.
Where did you go the first time?
So I went to Aruba. I wanted to kind of do like a smaller island, just for my first trip, a place where my parents had been before, so they had some little tips and advice, but it was a great starting point and definitely led me to prepare to go to bigger countries afterwards for longer periods of time.
Wow. So how you rate that trip? Was that successful? Is that exceeded your expectations that you expected? What was the first answer me this?
Yeah, so all I really knew about Aruba again was the experience my parents had. So they went there for
Okay.
their honeymoon, which is obviously a very different type of trip than me just going alone as a 22-year-old. But I guess all my expectations had been set by the stories that they were telling, the pictures they had shared with me, the hotel that they stayed at, which was one of the big main Marriott hotels there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of all I really knew about it. I knew it was kind of sometimes a more luxurious place for travelers, very popular with American tourists. But when I got there and I wasn't staying at that hotel and I wasn't doing all of the excursions and trips that my parents had done, it kind of showed me a big difference of like again, how much media and pictures can set a notion for a place before you go, and the stories that we tell. And I had a very different experience than what my parents had, but I think mine was maybe a little better. So,
Oh wow. I'm
mhm,
glad. I'm glad you made it safe.
yeah, it was definitely a learning curve. I made a lot of mistakes, and I'm
Okay.
really thankful that I had the chance to do that though, and I made a lot of friends along the way with locals who could tell it was my first time traveling solo, and I'm really
Mm-hmm.
glad that they were um, kind and patient with me about it as I was learning and figuring things out. That was definitely really lucky, as well as good connections that I still have today. So,
Wonderful.
yeah.
One funny thing that you remember of that trip.
Um, Getting there was a disaster, to say the least. All my flights had gotten delayed and then canceled, so
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know where to go. I was also so nervous leaving. I'm from Connecticut, so I was trying to get to Newark Airport in New Jersey,
Mm-hmm.
and I accidentally got on the wrong train to the airport, and I
Ooh.
ended up in New York City, which is not the right stop at all. So it was really confusing, and I think it was a lot of it was in my head.
Okay.
But I think that goes a lot to show like how anxious travelers are as well.
Yeah.
When I finally got there and got all settled, I lost my passport in the hotel or at the airport, and
Is this
then
the first trip?
yes,
Oh
so I lost
gosh.
my passport. None of my debit cards were or credit cards were working at the ATMs, so that was really
Okay.
stressful. I couldn't find my Airbnb. The taxi driver couldn't find the right directions, so it was really not great. And then when I finally got into the Airbnb, I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I'm gonna just go in the pool and relax. And I didn't realize how windy it was there. All my stuff blew into the pool, including all my cards and money. So everything was wet, and I was at that point I was considering just turning around and going home. And I
That's
called my mom,
awesome.
and she was like, "Just try and get through it. Like it's gonna be okay." But it was a lot that happened in the span of 24 hours.
Wow, that's wow. I would say in a funny way that was completely disaster. The whole
Yeah,
trip.
it really was. Now it's a good story, but in the moment I was like on the verge of tears. So
At the end, it's all about the stories.
yeah,
And as long
and
you're safe and have a good story, I think
yeah,
that's good enough.
yeah, and people were really nice to me. So like the
Mm-hmm.
taxi driver was willing to like, because I actually mispronounced the
New
address.
York taxi driver?
No, in Aruba,
Oh, okay.
to get around. I was the one
I
that made
see.
the mistake, and I mispronounced
Mm-hmm.
the road. So he went to a different street, and most people would just drop you off and be like, "You have to book another one or pay more." And he could tell I was really upset and confused. So he was like, "All right, like let's just get you settled." And then he gave me the company's phone number and said, for the rest of the week, you're here if you need anything, like come to us and I'll come get you and we'll get you to where you need to be.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. I
Hmm.
mean, good people are everywhere. And of
Yes,
course, I think we're lucky to, we get to get them. Oh,
definitely. Yeah.
that was
Hmm.
awesome. So my question is how did the thought came into your mind that, I'm gonna go alone? Did your friend decline the offer or what happened?
Yeah. So I was still in college, so a lot of us were working around just the time of spring break that we had and then summers. And most
Mm-hmm.
people for the summers would go home, and my friends had internships and jobs or were traveling with their own families. So it was a lot of the responses I was getting was, "Oh, I can't, like I don't have the time or I don't have the money to afford a trip."
Okay.
So I got a lot of like no's, and I was getting really frustrated. So I was like, I mean, if I want to do this, I'm gonna have to accept that I'm gonna have to go alone.
Mm-hmm.
And when you want something that badly, you just figure out how to make it work. So I was like, I'm just gonna save up my money from all the jobs I was working and let my boss know like in advance in a week in July I'm gonna be gone. And I just booked the ticket and went. Yeah.
Well, that was good. So after the first trip, how long did it took you to planned the second trip, and were you confident enough that, maybe I should go alone the second time?
Mm. So my second big trip happened to be a study abroad experience, which I went on my own, and it was for about 5 months. So going
Mm-hmm.
from 1 week to 5 months and living in another country was really different. But
Yeah.
I felt really confident for that trip, especially because I knew I had some set support system of the university that I was going to be attending on behalf of the study abroad experience, and I had some people who were helping me with the logistics of the travel.
Mm-hmm.
But once I was there, and I knew, like, in terms of navigating, just moving throughout the community, meeting people, I knew I had that under my belt because of all the experiences that I had prior with traveling. I would say my biggest areas of growth, what I learned from the Aruba trip was I really struggle with transportation and directions, as well as money with the currency exchange. So before I went on my next study abroad trip to England, I studied a lot about that and thought about all my mistakes that I had made and talked with my parents, did some research, and that made me feel better going into the experience. I still had to learn a lot, but it was better than the first go around.
So are you comfortable now if you need to travel alone somewhere?
Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable. Again, it's mostly other people who are very concerned and worried. But again, that's a lot of just what's out there on the news and media
Mm-hmm.
is covering negative experiences with solo female travel.
Mm-hmm.
I travel a lot for work, even just within the United States, and I still get people all the time, if I'm even just sitting alone at a restaurant or if I'm walking around like a museum by myself, people will come up to me and ask me, like, "Are you alone? Why are you alone?" And I'm
Oh,
like,
wow.
I don't know why it's so interesting to people, but yeah, I get that question asked pretty frequently.
How did your friend react to it?
They were again worried for me just because of what they have heard or what their families have shared with them about solo female travel. But afterwards, and they saw the experiences that I had, the pictures, the videos, me telling about stories about it. Many of them actually were really excited and I think a little jealous, asking a lot of questions about, like, well, how can I do what you did? Like, can you
Mm-hmm.
help me plan a trip? What's your advice on this destination? Or, how could I answer this type of question if someone asked me when I was traveling? So
Mm-hmm.
then
Yeah.
seeing my friends go and do it themselves, and then sometimes I had multiple friends who were solo traveling and would meet up in countries, and seeing that really all come together was very special.
Oh, wow. So you did inspire some of your friends to go
Yeah,
alone?
I think so, and definitely a lot of
Okay.
my friends studied abroad as well
Mm.
afterwards. Sometimes it just takes someone to kind of test it out first, and
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
yeah, so I'm happy to be that person though.
I'm glad too. I mean, it's all about experiences, as I said, and as long you're safe,
Yeah,
that's the main thing.
definitely.
It's not just about the women, but also men. It's
Yeah.
you have to be very, very conscious, very open to the environment that you're
Hmm.
in, even in the tourist areas.
Yeah,
So, it's kind of like that.
for sure. Everyone needs to be safe, and
So,
there's different things you can do. It's a lot of just awareness as well, and being confident in where you're going, and how you're portraying yourself and looking like you know what you're doing and where you're going. I think that makes you less of a target, so to say.
exactly. So lots of people say after you start traveling, your mindset changes. You see things with a different perspective
Hmm.
because you know other people how to look at the things and the lives and all that. So after you started traveling and solo traveling, what was the shift?
I think for me it was the shift of viewing leaving your home and going on a trip as, like, well, anytime I leave my house and I go to another country, it's solely a vacation versus
Mm-hmm.
it's a travel experience. There's a very big difference, and it does have to do with the mindset that you go in with on the trip. So growing up, my family and I, we never went on abroad trips, but we would always go to like Disney World, and that going into that trip is like, all right, I know for spring break I'm going to Disney World. That is 1 week of vacation, amazing food, nice hotels, and like my expectations are like I'm going to Disney to have fun, and their staff and team is excellent at customer service. Like I'm being catered to for me to have a good experience. When I went on Aruba, when I studied abroad, and all the other trips that I've been on, I was going in with the mindset of like, I'm going here to learn about this destination, to learn about this culture, to meet locals, to go to different restaurants, experience new things, and really ask a lot of questions to understand the place that I'm going, and not expecting them to, cater towards me. So I think that's a big difference that I learned, and ultimately still impacts the mindset of when I go to places. So now I live in Florida, so I still go to Disney, and when I go, I know I'm going in with the mindset that this is a vacation for me, like I took a day off from work, but you can still have both. It really just depends for the normal tourist to really think about when they're going on the trip, what they're expecting and how that impacts the way that they treat others around them.
Your first trip was international. When you planned that, did somebody or your parents or anyone that you discussed it to, did they suggest you to go in the States somewhere first and then go international?
Yes, my mom was really nervous and
Okay.
upset, and she really did not want me to go. So she was like, well, what if you did a road trip, like all across the East Coast or the West Coast, like across country? She really wanted me to stay within the US, and I was like, one, how am I like gonna get a car to do that? And that's a lot of money on gas, and like that almost to me seems more quote unquote dangerous, because there's so many stops along the way, and I've never been to any of these places. So like that's taking this one trip and destination times 20.
Okay.
But it was interesting to see how she really thought that would be a safer experience.
Step by step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of that, and like, why don't you just go back to Florida and go do something else in Orlando? And it's just very much like I noticed within my family, like sticking to what people are comfortable with or trips that they've done before, and a little nervous to explore outside of that. So I think that's common for a lot of people.
No, that makes sense, and that's why I asked, because
Yeah.
always, even my parents, if I'm trying to do something big, they would go step by step,
Yeah.
don't jump higher.
Yeah.
So, but I'm glad. So, if you're traveling solo or if you're traveling with your friends, the big issue we have in our age that we are in, it's a budget. How do you
Yeah.
do that? How do you
There,
stay in the budget so you
yeah.
don't break your credit cards?
Well, there's definitely ways to save in certain areas. First thing that I did was I knew I had to save up obviously some money, so I just worked a lot, and I put all my money towards that. And then first thing is when I look at the flights, if you're a little more flexible with dates, there's definitely peak seasons and off seasons, as well as certain days to fly are more expensive than others. So I really looked through all of that, and I looked at like even just Google has a simple calendar style that you can look at the prices.
Right.
And then I always just opted for the budget airlines. So, I mean, I had a great experience flying with Spirit. I know people have other things to say, but
Yeah, I have seen the reviews before I
yeah,
was looking at, but
and
that was horrible,
I
some
had
of
a
them.
great experience. So,
Okay,
yeah, so
that's interesting.
and that was about half the cost compared to other airlines.
Exactly.
And
Right.
for me, I don't really, that's not a big and important like priority for me. I know for others it is. So that was an area I saved in a lot, and then as well as with the hotels, looking for Airbnbs, I found was typically a little bit better. in
Mm-hmm.
terms of price point, and then I also would always book an Airbnb that had some type of small kitchen.
Okay.
And I would just, as soon as I get to a place, I go to the grocery store and buy things
Oh
for the week.
wow. Oh,
Yeah.
you cook by yourself when you go there.
Yeah, like breakfast and lunch and snacks. I feel like you can do that on your own. I would
Okay.
normally do like one meal out, like normally dinner at night, just to obviously have fun and also experience the local cuisine. But for breakfast and stuff, I feel like if you really want to, you can save money with that by just
Mm-hmm.
going to a store.
Yeah, I mean, in breakfast you don't eat much of anything. It's just like a bread, or if you kind of have
Yeah,
something
a
with a
yogurt.
coffee or tea and yogurt, as you said, and
Yeah.
you can kind of save like $15 out of it, I would
hmm
say. Yeah.
So yeah, did that, and then a lot of the I didn't do any like big excursions or tours. Those can be
Mm-hmm.
hundreds of dollars. Not discouraging those, but what I actually did was I just kind of followed where those tours and excursions go because those places are typically open to the public. A lot of them were like beach tours. And I just was there and I was swimming next to the group of people who paid for the tour, but I was just there by myself and I
So you were just
had the same exact,
following them.
yeah, I had the same
Yeah.
experience and um, a lot of things outside and beaches are typically free or very low cost, so I stuck to
Right.
like outdoor activities.
So when you go to the place, or before you decide to go somewhere, what are the things that you look at first before making a decision?
Definitely cost is the first one, just to see if it's feasible or not, and then I look at if there's certain cities or towns within a place that I really want to experience, and if it's reasonable to make a week trip out of that, if that's doable, or if I would need to like hop around a couple of places. So I think cost is definitely top of mind, and then also like if I have any connections to people in those places. As I traveled more and my network grows, then I'll reach out to some other friends that I've made along the way and ask them for their advice. Or sometimes they'll be like, oh, yeah, I have a friend who lives here and here. Like, let me connect you with them. They would be happy to host you. Or, they have a friend who owns this hotel and, that would be a great place for you to stay. So definitely just getting
Oh, nice.
advice first before
Right.
making any of my own decisions. hmm
That's good.
Yes, I
That's
am.
good. You said you're
hmm
basically from Connecticut. I'm here in
Yeah.
New York. I have like 20 vacation days
Yeah.
pending, and we are in the last months of the year. What would you suggest around in East Coast or somewhere
I would
else that I
definitely
should go in
look
the
at
States?
like Bar Harbor up in Maine. I don't know if you ever want to go to Maine, but it's beautiful.
Okay.
There's a lot of national parks.
What is
It's
there?
very scenic, very cozy. There's a little bit of water, but also
Mm-hmm.
like mountains, like foresty stuff. It's just very cozy and charming. So I really liked Maine area, and then if you're willing to go to the West Coast, I would suggest Oregon. I don't know if you've ever been there, but Oregon's absolutely beautiful. Um, Great place. I just went there for the first time and I'm really excited to go back. So, and that I found was a pretty reasonable trip to go from the East Coast to the West Coast. You can always come to Florida if you
I
want to.
see. What about Florida?
It's storming outside right now, so it rains like every day on and off sometimes, so that
Oh gosh.
sometimes that throws travelers off. But
Okay.
yeah, you can come down. It's getting very busy with tourists. That's something I've noticed, at least in Tampa, where I'm at. Um, but there are other parts of Florida that are beautiful as well, that
Mm-hmm.
are a little less touristy. To come to
What is the
Florida,
best season to,
I would
you
say
know,
like
visit Florida?
January, which is
Yeah.
like winter for us, January, February. It's just the humidity is a lot less and
Okay.
it's a bit cooler. So it can
How many
sometimes drop
degrees
low,
normally
like
the temperature at
40s,
that time?
50s, but typically it's in the 60s, 70s, which is great. Yeah, really nice. Everyone,
Good
yeah,
enough. That's
but
good enough.
so everyone
We get
here when
like
it's
10.
like winter in the 60s has like coats on and eh, sweatshirts and sweatpants and all bundled up. But
Hmm.
as someone from the, um, up north, it's like perfect temperature and it's really comfortable. That's when my parents like to visit me. So, hmm
Yeah. Right.
yeah. Hmm
Oh, I see. I see. That's a good one. Yep. So after traveling alone and travel a lot, what are the
I
traveling
would
myths that
say
you want to bust?
that it's always expensive because there are certainly ways, like we talked about, to get around that or reduce costs. And then I would say that you can do it alone if you
Mm-hmm.
want to do it alone, and that that's a good question. um, I guess
Maybe I should have
I
some
think mostly
research
it
on
is
this
cost and that it's
common
dangerous. I
myths.
think those
I
are
didn't
the
I
top
didn't do
two,
that.
which again are certainly valid things to think about, but
Okay.
those I believe are the top two and are definitely ways that I've been able to deal with that
Hmm.
personally. Hmm
I see.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, if
yeah.
something come into your mind, let me know. Or if I have any questions, I'll ask you in a bit. Uh, so we're gonna
Sure.
continue solo
hmm
traveling in the meantime, and then we'll move to sustainable travel. So what are the best countries you think of, or according to what you
I
did
think
your
a lot of
research
times
to
right now, if
for
people
solo
Google, the
traveling?
first one that will come up is Costa Rica. That has been a leading place for sustainability for a while now. I've been there and I had a great experience
Okay.
as well. I would rank that pretty highly. Um, but honestly, I think anywhere in the UK and Europe, especially for my interest with sustainability, they seem to be it's top of mind, but it also seems to be more of like a societal value, which I feel is a little different than at least what I experience here in the States. So over there, everywhere that I went, there was always businesses that were very forward about their sustainable initiatives, very catered towards travelers and what they could do. There were a ton of different museums and parks that I would visited that would actually like encourage you to have transportation sustainably to those destinations, and they would give you discounts on your tickets for admission if you showed proof of
Hmm.
sustainability with transportation, so mostly taking like public transport or group transportation. So it was they're actively rewarding people for doing that, but in turn it has kind of become just a societal value. And everywhere I went, people were really interested to hear what I had to say, as well as connect me with other people in that space who are currently doing that work. So yeah, and conservation seems to be very popular as well. So I think anywhere in that area is great, but I think everywhere in the world is kind of leading in their own ways, and I think we're all trending towards that, but it really just depends on a lot of different things, economic, political, just different statuses of where people are at. So,
Amazing. I mean, yeah, that's actually one of my
yeah.
questions too. I'll look forward into it to visiting there. And the next question should be my number one question that I should ask in the beginning, and then I forgot. And I'm gonna ask it now. And
Solo
it's a simple
traveling.
question, but what is
So
solo
solo
traveling?
traveling is just going on a trip by
Yes.
yourself. And I think a lot of times people will go on solo trips by themselves, but actually end up meeting a lot of people along the way, is what I've noticed. So even if you go on the trip solo, you might come out with a lot of friends, or sometimes people who are solo traveling end up kind of linking up because they realize they're going on the same trip or they're headed in the same direction. So most of the times you come into a trip solo, but you walk away with a lot of friends or end up kind of tagging along to another group. I typically have always just met people along the way and come out as a solo traveler, because I tend to have a really strict like itinerary that I follow, or I'm doing like business related stuff. But yeah, that's solo travel in a nutshell. Hmm Yeah.
I see. I like your answer. Thank you. Very inspiring. The next common question asked by the people is, what
I
are the
think
benefits of
mostly it's
solo
just the
traveling?
confidence that you build within yourself, um, that you can do this and you can are also able to learn how to adapt in the moment to various circumstances. So, for me, as someone who tends to be a little
Hmm.
shy in places where I'm not comfortable, I when traveling alone, I was kind of forced to have to do things, or if I wanted to practice a skill like ordering, a dish at a restaurant in the language of the place I was at, I it was just me sitting there, so I had to say something. Versus if there was, family or friends, someone else could order first, or even just again things with like directions
Yeah.
or money or anything with that. Like when you're in the moment and you have to figure it out, you'd be surprised what you're able to do. I thought I would just freeze up and be like, I don't know what to do, and call my parents and ask them, but your mind kind of just takes over and you're able to figure different situations out. And for me that was really exciting to see that I was capable of that, but now also like moving forward it's become more of like a natural instinct and something
Hmm.
that you carry over anywhere, whether you're traveling abroad or even just around your local area.
Exactly. I believe it's also the good answer is one of is
Mhm.
it's also give
Mhm.
you a sense of responsibility that I'm the one. I'm the one who gonna ordering the food or have to
Yeah.
take care of myself and whatever
Mhm.
the environment I'm into. Nobody else
Yeah.
gonna be. So it gives you the
And just taking
confidence
care of
and,
yourself, and also
be
like
more aware of the things.
my favorite part is also like I can do whatever I want to do. I don't have to follow someone else's itinerary, or if I have an itinerary set and I decide I want to change
Hmm.
my mind, move things around, like I can do that, and nobody else is going to say anything.
Hmm.
So, I like that part. Mhm.
Right, right. That's nice. Let me see what else we got. Yeah, what
I
is
would
the
say it's
average
definitely
age of solo
in the 20s.
travelers?
Again, with university students, I think it's really hard to work around academic schedules, but I think a lot of people, after they finish up university or their degree, tend to go. So I would say like 26 to 28, I feel like is a sweet spot, but I think again, as more people talk about it, people are looking to do so earlier on as well.
So, do you think that you
Yeah,
accomplished
I
a
think
very
so.
good thing when you traveled at
Yeah, I think
22?
it was a great experience to have,
You
and
feel?
also liked helped and confirmed my interest in sustainable tourism, and that this is an area that I want to be in. And it ultimately ended up, because I was a sophomore in college, and it really helped me kind of pivot where I was at
Hmm.
academically as well, and where I wanted to study. And I ended up getting an internship with a travel company, and I don't think as I went on in that experience, I don't think I ever would have done
Hmm.
stuff like that or explored that interest in terms of a career, and not just like I want to do this for fun for myself. Hmm. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Yeah. I mean, it opened the doors of the opportunities once put your feet in the water. And what is the
That
safest
is a
country
very
to go as a
researched
solo traveler?
question. I think different things come up. I've heard people
It
say
is.
all sorts of things. I don't really know if there's an exact one, but what I have researched and what I have looked up, I just look up and listen to people's stories online, whether it's on TikTok or Instagram. Um, but honestly, I think the UK is personally one of the safest places to go, but I know that other places
Oh,
are ranked high as well. But
UK.
again, I think it's all based on personal experiences. I guess for me,
Oh,
because
oh,
that's where I
why
was the
did you
longest,
choose
so
UK?
kind of like what I'm saying, I'm basing it on my experience. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I think if people go somewhere and have a
Yeah,
safe
yeah.
experience, they're like, oh, this is like one of the safest places, but that could be very different for everyone. But I would say since I was there for so long, I really never had a negative experience, and I was out and about for months. So yeah.
When you think about being safe, or when people search for the safest countries to visit, what are the main thing that they're thinking in their mind, the
I think a lot of
perspective
it
of
is
being safe?
like
What is that?
if I were to walk down this road, is someone going to approach me? Like, is it safe to walk at night? I think those are the common questions. Um, but again, those are questions you could be asking anywhere you
Mm-hmm.
go, or even your home where you live all the time. But I think those are the questions I would get a lot, or from a
Yeah.
female perspective, like, do men ever approach you or things like that? But again, it could totally be the other way around. So for me, again, I don't think I had a lot of negative experiences because I also didn't put myself in those environments. So I was very conscientious about where I was going, like what time I'm going. When I was walking, I did have to
Mm-hmm.
walk at night because some of my classes were later in the evening. Like I didn't put my headphones in, like so I could hear what was going on around me. Like it's just stuff like that, and kind of just walking confidently, or walking near someone or another group of girls that were in front of me. I would kind of just stay close behind. So again, it really just
Yeah.
depends on, I guess, what your definition of safe is and what you're comfortable with. Because I also was approached many times by people, but I don't
Yeah.
consider that to be unsafe because a lot of times, sometimes people were asking me for directions, and I was like, I don't know, like I have no idea, but I guess I was exuding the a confidence and appearance that I was a local. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you can certainly be
Right.
approached, but sometimes it's just
Exactly.
simple questions. Yeah, yeah. So
Just don't
I think
panic
a
like
lot of it, again, is the
sad.
confidence that you build too.
Right. What are the tips before we move to the next topic? What are the some of the tips that you want to give to the people who are thinking to go on
I
solo
would just
traveling,
be
or
like
who are in this
realistic
thing?
with yourself, and really take time to reflect on not if you think you can do this and go on a solo trip, but like just thinking about your personality and what type of experience might be best for you. Like if you know you get overwhelmed in crowded spaces, maybe going to New York City for your first solo trip is not the best idea. Even as much as if you want to go there, try and ease into things a little bit more, as
Okay.
well as like test things out on your own. So like challenge yourself to go to your favorite restaurant in your
Mm-hmm.
hometown, but go alone and see, how you feel, if you like that experience, or, go to a local park and spend an hour walking by yourself. Like, do all of those experiences ahead of time, because some people, a lot of my friends, wouldn't even do that in Tampa, and I was like, how are you going to do that when you're abroad? You're going to feel so much pressure and nervousness that it's going to take away from the whole experience. So kind of just practice or do a day trip by yourself, a weekend
Mm-hmm.
trip, somewhere near your home. I think that's my best piece of advice.
I see. I see. Yeah, did you answer already answered my second question I was about to ask, that maybe you should jump to the international
Mm,
solo trip first, or
yeah,
you should
and I
try
think
to
it's, again,
listen to your
definitely
mom and go
like
step by
there's
step.
so much you can do, and even since I've been in Tampa for 5 years, I have stayed within like such a small radius because I'm always
Mm-hmm.
at school, and work. So now, as much as I want to continue traveling to more
Yeah.
countries, I am starting to realize how many things I want to just do in Florida. Florida's humongous, and there's so many things I want to do, and I have barely scratched the surface of visiting places in Florida. So, hmm
I see. I see. Okay, that's good. I mean, I have one more question if may I ask you why you said
I mean,
not to
that's just an
travel your first
example.
trip to New York City?
I personally really struggle, and I've been to New York City many times. As someone who's been there alone and with friends, with
Okay.
families, every time I've gone, I have always been overwhelmed. I've had a good experience, but like, I can't imagine doing that, like, me personally, a stress free. I think there's stress no matter what. Yeah, I still now I think I would
Still
do, I think
now
I
or
could do
as a
it and
beginner?
navigate it, but I think I would still be stressed.
Oh, wow.
Um, but that again also comes down
Yeah,
to like what
yeah.
types of experiences you're looking
Hmm.
for. So, yeah. But it could be the same for like LA. I would just
Okay.
say if you're anxious, an anxious traveler, like maybe not pick a big city. Even Tampa could be overwhelming to people. So, yeah. Yeah.
I see. I see. So start small as a beginner. So thank you very much for that. I mean, if
Hmm.
there any question
Yeah.
comes to my mind, I'll definitely ask you about solo traveling.
Hmm.
But now we're gonna move to our sustainability thing, is which it's all about, and what
So there's a
sustainable
lot of
travel
different
means to
definitions
you
for
and looks like to you.
the term, and also a lot of different words that people will use interchangeably. So ecotourism, responsible travel, regenerative tourism, sustainable tourism, they're all pretty much the same thing. There's some nuances, but yeah, for me personally, if we look at the
Mm-hmm.
definition of sustainable tourism, it's taking into account the environmental, the economic, and the cultural or societal factors of the place you're going. But again, that is a solid definition, but the most important part is looking at how all three of those main factors really contribute to not only yourself and your choices, but how those choices are affecting the environment, but also the local host community. So it's taking into consideration, and really for me, like seeing how things work interconnectedly, and that's something how my mind tends to work anyway. So kind of seeing this effect of how can this experience not just be beneficial for me, but can be beneficial for the environment and the community too.
I see. So what are the steps when you're traveling you have to keep in
I would
mind or
say a
have to
lot of it
prepare
comes
to be
down
more
to,
sustainable?
obviously, anywhere you're going, there's different things you can look at. It doesn't have to be one specific place. The first part being the economic side, which is
Mm-hmm.
one part that I tend to overlook because I've felt the least like competent in that area or knowledgeable. But when you're looking and booking things, looking and booking, you can kind of see where your money is going to be going. So if you book a local hotel or stay that's specific to that place, or if you stick to a chain hotel group or whatnot, there's different choices that you can make from the get go that you can just do simply by seeing what options are available. And then a lot of it really, really comes down to the excursions and tours or activities that people are doing. I would say that's the biggest thing. And mostly just kind of taking a step back and looking at the marketing of what's being advertised to you, or what ads are popping up, and what are these different excursions promising or telling you that you're going to experience. Like, just taking a look at those things and seeing like, does this look ethical? Like, does this look natural? Is this something that I should be doing? I think a lot of it comes down to your inner gut. Can tell you a lot
Mm-hmm.
about just like looking at these experiences, and is this really something I should be doing, or does this just look something that's cool that would be good for a picture?
Right. The three things that you mentioned when you were explaining what
Hmm.
sustainable travel is, I can't
Hmm.
remember all
And
those, but you
environmental.
said social, economical, and uh,
Sure. So,
and environmental. Can you
environmental
break this
being
down?
like from the tourism industry, and then your choices as a traveler. How is what you're doing affecting the local environment of the place that you're in?
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of people automatically go straight to like, well, am I recycling or not? That's definitely one choice and can come from, the things you're packing or bringing or buying. But it can also come down to the hotels you're staying at, what
Mm-hmm.
initiatives they have in place, in terms of like saving power and water. It can come down to restaurants you're at and food waste.
Mm-hmm.
Also, mainly the animals and the environment that you're in. Are they being treated properly? Are you interacting with them properly and ethically? I think a lot of people will go abroad and try to touch animals
Mm.
and be in their space or feed them and chase after them, try to take pictures with them, and that's something that is definitely an area for growth for a lot of people. And then in economical, it's where your money is going as a traveler. So some of that is in your control, and some of it is, of course, you know, we don't know everything where the flow of money is going, but choosing to book local versus not, choosing to eat at local restaurants, family owned businesses, supporting small businesses. So just where you're choosing to spend your money and how. I think souvenirs is a really good example. So, am I buying a tacky t shirt or, a cheap keychain that was probably made somewhere else and produced in a large factory versus like a handmade local artisan gift
Right.
or product. So there's some different choices you can make. And then in terms of cultural and social, it's about how you're treating the locals in the community that you're at. Again, are you looking at them to be catering towards you? Are you respecting certain traditions and customs? And just conducting yourself appropriately in the place that you're at. It could be even as simple as things that you're wearing in certain spaces, body language, if you're trying to speak the local language, verbally.
Mm.
So there's a couple different things, but once you start practicing it, those things kind of just, you don't have to think so much about them like, oh my gosh, did I say that right or did I do that right? The more you practice it, it kind of becomes a mindset that you carry with you. Hmm.
I see. So it's about the manners too for of the place, and
Yeah.
that's how you treat the people and the planet,
Hmm.
and of course wherever you go, it's our homeland. All
Yeah.
across the world,
Hmm.
just try to be not
Definitely.
to throwing the garbage on the roads. Which country you notice that you have seen the tourist who is not following these kind of manners,
And that's a good
or
question.
locals who just don't
Yeah,
care about the
I am
planet
going to pick on Aruba because
and
this
the
was something I
environment?
saw on Instagram last week. There was this restaurant that I went to that I loved, and
Okay.
I follow their Instagram account, and the owner posted a picture of um, the road behind the store. So, not the front, like main entrance, but the back, I guess, alley or area. And it was a picture of the whole road
Mm-hmm.
covered in garbage,
Okay.
like could not even see the pavement. And she kind of wrote in the caption like, how is this possible? Like, and who did this? Is it locals? Is it tourists? Like, what happened here? This is a really loved restaurant, and she's worried people aren't going to come in because it looks dirty. So then within a day of her posting that,
Yeah.
she posted again the following 24 hours later, and it was a picture of the road all clean, and it was a caption that said like, wow, you guys really showed up. And
Hmm.
again, I don't know if it was locals or tourists who saw it, but the road is completely clean now. So that was like, wow. And again, I have no
Wow.
idea if it was locals or tourists. And when I was there, I didn't really see that myself. But kind of even just showing how if someone's the person to say something about it, like people will step up and help. So that was interesting. And as well as in Aruba, it's very, the island is kind of set up to be catered towards tourists. So there are really nice areas that are pristine and well kept and not a single piece of trash in sight. But as soon as you go outside that like 1 mile radius, there was areas that I was in that typical tourists don't go to, where I was like, oh my goodness, like how did I just go from here to here in a span of 2 minutes and it's completely different. So that was definitely interesting. Hmm.
Wow. Yeah, it is. It is. What is the cleanest country
Um,
you saw in your during your travels?
yeah. Um,
Even after the two
I would
minutes
say
walk.
Scotland. I had a really great experience there, but I also think again it comes down to um, like values, societal values. My goodness, and I think the nature and the
Mm,
environment is top of mind. So I was in a very mountainous area and even a city area as well, and I barely saw
okay.
any trash. So it was very well kept and clean, but I think a lot of that comes down to the locals just not only respecting the place that they live, but knowing that people are coming to the area to see how beautiful it is, and they're proud of their country, their land, and they want to show it in the best light possible, and that means like taking care of garbage and keeping it clean. Yeah.
I see. That's good. Good to
Um,
know.
I
How
think
about
there's certain
U.S.?
parts that are better than others. When I was just in Oregon, I would say that was pretty good, but here in Florida, it's a little messy. There's no,
Because of the rain,
I just
or just maybe
there's
people don't
garbage
feel like
everywhere.
after the rain.
It could definitely be like that I'm in a more city
Oh.
setting, but I'm kind of on the outskirts of the city, downtown Tampa, and I
Hmm.
there's garbage everywhere, and there's barely recycling bins out here either. So it's very weird, and I don't know like I don't really know how one would go about fixing that. I think again it really comes down to like your personal choices and behaviors. Like I know what I can do, but I can't control what everyone else is doing.
No.
So that's a little frustrating.
Maybe you
That's a
should
good idea,
post a
yeah.
post that like
Because
the
I think
same
people would
restaurant
be
owner did.
surprised to see it and
Yeah.
not necessarily feel like, oh, she's calling us out and like making us feel bad about it. But again, like many people who live in Tampa, especially downtown Tampa, are proud to live here and they love it and they love the environment because we're on the water as well. So there's always dolphins swimming by. And I think if they saw, how much trash there is and relating it to, you know,
Wow.
I'm someone who goes on my morning walk every morning. I don't want to see trash, so let's, do something about it. Yeah.
Right. So we gonna use a little bit Gen Z language. And what are the green
Um,
flags you
I
look
think
at the
it's
place before you
different
go?
per, like, if I'm looking at hotels, if I'm looking at experiences, excursions, there's different green flags you can look for. A lot of it you can also, I know social media doesn't always show everything, it just shows it's the highlight reels, but there's also a lot of things that you can see and just looking at
Right.
and doing some research and digging on your own, looking through captions. People are very open about sharing their experiences, and people are very open about sharing their negative experiences. So you can look through those and kind of get an idea and see are there more negative than positive ones. From a more logistical standpoint, you can look and see if, especially with
Mm-hmm.
excursions related to animals, if there's certain accreditations and all of that stuff. So there's a couple different things you can look for, but I would say start with just reviews. Take it with a grain of salt. But, and then also if you have questions, you can always reach out to the organization themselves. That's something I tend to do a lot. And if a place is really open and honest
Mm-hmm.
about what they're doing, their sustainability initiatives, they normally have it posted on their website and they're very proud to share that. So that's a great place to start. But if a place is giving you some
Yeah.
sketchy answers or offended that you're asking questions, those are kind of red flags, I guess, to see.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
see. Okay. Good to know that too. It's yeah, I'm thinking about my trip, my next trip.
Yeah.
How I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna look at the things that I want to visit. So you've been in a lot of countries, and of course you have seen a lot of cultures of their unique. What culture did you like? I mean, all cultures are beautiful and they have their own uniqueness. But
I
what the
really
cultures
loved
that you were
Spain.
very fascinated
I
about
I loved that
seeing
as
them?
someone who again
Okay.
tends to follow a very strict itinerary that's jam packed, and I'm always go go go. Being in Spain, I kind of realized like, oh, I have to slow down a bit. And I think a lot of people experience that when they go to Spain, especially if they're coming from
Hmm.
places like the US that are very structured. Like
Slow down
physically
in the
slow
means,
down.
in what sense?
I not rushing through and running around. Yeah, at least the areas I
Why,
was
we
in,
walk
I wasn't in
fast
a
or
main
what?
city, but I was in a very small,
Oh,
like, little beach town,
okay.
and everyone was just so calm and like leisurely strolling. And I'm typically the person that has my backpack on, and I'm bustling along. So I was like, oh wow, like when I was walking with groups of people, one, I literally need to slow down to stay with the group, but also like, really taking your time at restaurants, or, just going to a restaurant or sitting outside on the beach and having a glass of wine and not trying to like rush through it. Like sometimes I was at dinners that were 2 3 hours, and in my head that's a really long time, but to my friends that were locals, that was
Wow.
very common. And like, let's just hang out and chat about our day. And in my head, I'm like, well, I need to go home and I need to figure out what I'm doing tomorrow. And um, totally not thinking like that. Or even the service in the restaurants. Not to say it's slow, but like the waiter really taking their time to talk to everyone, because everyone's very close and friendly with each other, or a lot of like repeat customers. So I was like,
Okay.
if I
Oh, wow.
so it wasn't just
It's
like trying to
completely
get things
different from
done in and
ours.
out.
Yeah.
It was very much like, let's just take our time and relax and
Mm-hmm.
be grateful for this experience. And, oh, we had a nice dinner. Like, let's go walk on the beach now. Or
Exactly.
do you guys want to, go to another spot and get ice cream? And I was like, wow, this is taking forever the first like 2 days of my trip. But then afterwards, I was like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
this is great. Like, this is nice for a change. So I liked that that's a value of like
Right.
taking time to slow
Maybe.
down and really spend quality time with friends and family.
Right. Right. I feel like there must be few reasons
Yeah.
behind it. First is to be grateful and present in the moment, not thinking about, I'm gonna go
Yeah.
home and what I'm going to do tomorrow. That's one thing, and
Hmm.
just taking
Yeah.
their time and enjoying the
Yeah.
moment, whatever is going on. Mm-hmm. That's good. That's a good one.
Yeah.
So we are actually about to our close to our time of our episodes, but we gonna talk about some more things,
Sure.
and then we'll pack up. So, any things that you want to
I
discuss
would
at the
say
last
like for
that
me
you want to
personally,
share?
I'm always happy to help people. If they ever want to reach out and have a question or ask, you can always reach out to me through my socials, which we can include. But other than that, like just overall being patient with yourself as you learn these different types of skills, and also being curious. I think those are the two main things to move forward, and like can really really change your travel experience, but also really help you grow as a person. So if you're really interested in personal growth and development, leadership styles, things like that, like I was and still am, that has been taken to a different level with now including travel. So be open to the experience and non-judgmental, as we're all, I think, from both the traveler standpoint and from the business operator standpoint, we're all still trying to learn and navigate this new area of sustainable travel. But I think it was is the area that we're leading towards for the future. So, yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much. The last thing and the most important thing, one of, is about the food.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about that. I just realized. So you went to Spain. You went to the Mexican countries. How the food looks like? What
Mm.
are their
So
what's the
I'm
best
I'm
food you
gluten
ever
free, which
had
is a
in
little
those
hard,
countries?
and I was worried that that was going to hold me back from some certain trips and trying new things. However, not the case at all in the UK. I was able to
Okay.
have like gluten-free fish and chips and different pastries. There was always options, which I loved, but
Mm-hmm.
my favorite dish that I ever tried was in Spain. It's very simple. It's called patatas bravas. It's a potato dish. Um, so what I did the first night I had it, I wasn't sure if I was gonna like it, but I loved it. And so then every night of that trip, every restaurant I went to with my friends, we would order it to see like how do they compare, and every single one was different. So some were like actual pieces of
Mm-hmm.
like cubed potatoes, some were like literal French fries. So that was fun,
Okay.
but that's my favorite dish, and it's very simple, and
Okay.
it's probably something I could definitely make at home too. But I haven't tried yet, but maybe I will.
You
I
haven't
don't
tried
know.
after that? Ooh, why?
Probably about a year
When
ago,
was the last time you
so
went there?
maybe I will.
You should.
My
You should by
assignment.
now. This is your what it says? Yeah, your assignment, and this is your I forgot what it says. But anyways,
um,
what how about the
I
other
was very
countries?
surprised with Aruba and Costa Rica. I felt like they again were very catered towards tourists.
Mhm.
So I wasn't quite sure what to expect. I mean, Aruba
Mhm.
definitely because it's a lot of hotels and Marriotts and a lot of travelers will stay at those restaurants. So the food I was eating there was very similar to food I eat here in America, but um, in Costa Rica, I was very surprised. Like, there was pizza everywhere and it tasted very similar, but I tried this certain fruit there. I can't remember what it was called. It looked like a little orange, kind of like a orange cherry tomato, but it was a fruit. It was so good, and I asked the waiter to come back and bring more because I, I loved it. And then, I mean, I just have to say the
Wow.
pina coladas are great as well. I liked trying those wherever I go. I like to try a pina colada, and I think some of the best were in Costa Rica.
Nice. Is it true that people
Yes,
say Europe food has
yes.
better quality than ours?
Especially as someone that's
It is?
gluten free. A lot
How?
of people who are gluten free can go to Italy, Spain, and other places in Europe and are able to eat like regular bread, pasta, and have no reaction at all. It totally has to do with the way things are processed there. And I had the same experience, and again, I was really nervous to
Mm-hmm.
try it, but I was fine. I had no reaction. I have a really sensitive stomach too, and when I especially was living in the UK for 5 months, almost all of those issues went away, and I honestly want to move back to the UK because back to bad. Nope,
And after you
back to
come
being a
back
very
here,
sensitive
it
stomach
was
and
the
having to
same?
go back really to the strict gluten-free
Oh.
diet. So, I think that's interesting and definitely something I'm keeping in mind as I figure out where I want to move next. Yeah, and they agreed. They said
Did you
it's
ask your
totally the way
doctor
things are
about
processed
this?
there. So, I think that's interesting as well and says a lot about our culture
Hmm.
here with food. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I see. I see.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good thing to know. Um, yes, I
Mhm.
mean we covered food too.
I
That
have
was
not. It's
one of
on
the
my
main
list. My
things.
sister and I
Have
are
you ever
looking
been
to
to
go.
Italy?
So that's in the works.
Okay.
hmm
Okay.
Um,
So what are the
yeah,
next
well,
steps
I
of
think the
yours
next step for me will
about
actually be
traveling?
moving abroad somewhere. So yes, I am finishing up my master's degree at
Moving.
the University of Tampa, and that will be about another 8 months. And then after that, I am looking to go back to Oxford and live
Okay.
there. So I'd like, yeah, in England.
In
So, and
UK?
I think that would be for probably a year
I
or two.
see. I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Wish you all the luck for that. But as
Yes,
long
for
you're here,
sure.
try
hmm
some of the states in the US too. Yeah,
You're welcome.
definitely.
hmm
So thank you very much, Miss Cassidy Wilson, for joining us here on ZÁY SHEEN Webisodes. It was such a wonderful talk to you,
hmm
and And of course, the topics that we discuss are very unique about solo and sustainable traveling. And I believe lots of
Yeah,
people who are gonna listen
for
to
sure.
this will get some knowledge about the traveling, either going
Definitely, yes.
solo and being sustainable at the same time. At the end, I'm gonna ask you, please let
Sure.
us know
So
where
you
can
can
we
reach out to
find
me on
you and how
Instagram.
you can
It's
help us.
just Cassidy.Wilson and then an underscore. That's as simplified as down to the username that's available, so that's the one I
Mm-hmm.
have. And then TikTok is just Cassidy.Wilson. So that one's pretty simple. And then you can always reach out to me as well
Okay.
through my
Mm-hmm.
website. There's a contact form. I am updating that currently, like the entire website. I think social media is a better route, but hopefully my website will be up and
Nice.
running soon and look a lot better. So, yeah.
Definitely. All the links that she mentioned, you can
Mhm.
find it in the description below. And always you can reach out to us if you have, reach out to her if you have any questions regarding
Yes,
solo
very
traveling,
much.
especially in UK.
Yep.
She's very into it. So thank you very much again to you and to the
All
people
right.
who are listening to it. And I'll see you with the next
All right.
episode.
Great.
Bye bye.